Hello and good morning again, everyone. Varel here, Flow Roofing out of Portland, Oregon. And if you're tuning into this, we appreciate your time and attention. We want to shed a lot of light on our systems and processes that you can expect to go through both residential, commercial, steep slope, and flat roof. With regards to how we treat our clients, big and small, everyone deserves the same process, the same onboarding, the same inspection process. Granted, everyone's got different timelines, different expectations. They've got all their different proposals that they should. But in my own reflection of the event that we're doing this weekend with the car show at the convention center, and we're giving out tons of ice cream just to give people an experience and a memory that has zero expectations. That prompted me to click record on this video because that's exactly what we're trying to do with our inspections. And I say people, but maybe other roofers in the industry, other competitors might be like, why is Flow doing X, or do they have a secret sauce? I don't think we have a secret sauce, okay? I think that we're just following my mom's golden rule: treat people how you want to be treated, and doing the best damn job we could possibly do in pursuit of perfection every single day. And so here we are 7+ years down this path. We've got better individuals than I've ever been surrounded with my sister being I believe, one of the single pinnacles of any inkling ounce of success that someone might think we might have. That I believe we're just not there yet. I know that we're capable of so much more. We have such a longer time horizon to, I believe there's this mystery definition of success. And tune into how we flow, or to flow or not to flow, that last video we did a couple weeks back, to ensure that you also have your own definitions. But when we defined what success looked like, and when I determined what I thought I would call success in life, I didn't look to any number. I looked to our capacity, how many people can we help, right? And there's so much more in a people business that you have to do in order to be able to hit capacities that can make sure that you can serve people at the highest. And when you get into a peak season in the Pacific Northwest, I would say between March and end of September. October, you can be a little dicey. March can be pretty finicky as well. We all know that. But come April, May, you can start to see the rain showers coming, and so you can move appropriately. Whereas right now, weather is plus or minus a 50-50 thing, and you can only see about 3 days out, give or take. They're getting better, So how do we Flow determine whether or not, literally pun I guess intended, that you can move and you can schedule and you can coordinate, you can start to plan for these projects with such an uncontrollable detail like weather, that completely makes us beholden to whether or not we can actually give our clients what they're paying for and what they would expect, and which is a speedy turnaround at a quality result. So this drove me crazy in the first couple of years. We have zero control, and in the beginning, when I was wearing the belt, it didn't matter as much because the job was going to get done regardless of the weather. But now, uncapping properties and uncapping lots of property value at any given time is not a risk that we're going to take at Flow. And we ensure that our clients are going to be protected, and crews are trained to make sure that they're covering up, drying in what they expose. And so seasonally in the wintertime, any project of any size, it could be 10 squares. 10 squares, it could probably do in a day. But a standard roof, 20 to 30 squares is your standard residential. You're going to go section by section. Most of our teams are about 3 men, each in a truck, which we find to be an optimal, 3 to 5 roughly is perfect, but 3 for a lot of the off-season crews are these family members that like to flow together. And with that, we can predict a lot more of the progress on a project if that 20 to 30 square mark happens. So the square, to break it down for you, is a 100 square feet. And so in roofing terminology, I'm sure in siding as well, anything that deals with a lot of surface area is going to talk about squares and square feet in a different way. So we talk squares here, Flow, and 20 to 30 squares or 2,000 to 3,000 square foot house properties are your 80% probably of our residential replacement. And at that point, there's some smaller spots, there's some custom as well. And at that point, we're able to ensure a pretty consistent timeline when we set expectations during our pre-site walks. And so we'll get into more about what it's like when you flow with us and that expectation. We want to really paint a picture for our clients to ensure that they can see what happens next. And at Flow, when we're truly flowing together and our customers buy into our quality standards, our expectations, they say that's a totally reasonable budget. Anything else they're expecting outside of what we've talked about is our fault. And so from the very beginning, which is what we're going to dive into right now, is setting the expectations for any client from the very beginning to be able to predict what they're in for. And I always tell my project managers to tell people a hurricane is going to blow through, the trees are going to fall over, the sky is going to rip apart. Like, dramatize thank you, the experience to make sure that, and they all know, and when you dramatize it too much, that that's not going to happen. But the hyperbole is meant to make sure that people understand it's going to be okay, because there's so much uncertainty in how we flow. And that's where in a different video we're going to do ride-alongs with the project managers to show people this is the day in the life, right? The same thing with the inspectors, right? This is how we flow. And peeling back the curtain on all this stuff is my dream, to show people that we are not this fancy, stupid brand, but this group of incredible individuals that are pursuing better and better roofing experiences daily, yearly, month over month for our people that believe that attic ventilation and properly done attic ventilation with quality workmanship, smooth flowing results are the way in a roofing business that otherwise the thousands of people that are not sharing, right? So you see on socials the roofing companies that are willing and confident to provide insights into how they flow. But there's thousands of companies that would not want to show you this, right? And I have imposter syndrome, which is why it took me so long, and I wanted to have something worth sharing before I actually click record. But we're going to get to the process of what it's like to flow here in a minute. But what I wanted to go over specifically, and we're going to zoom this out here in a minute, but those individuals who are not willing to share, ultimately they aren't confident in their experience. And those are the people in the world that want to maximize. They're after a number, they're after a P&L, and I'm like, whoa. Okay, well, so if flow is my dream and I'm flowing and people are sharing my dream and they're getting a piece of this, we're gonna take it slow. Okay, we train slow so that way people can learn slow, because slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And slow and low and slow is how we flow here at Flow Roofing. And so it gives people the opportunity to, and I have to remind myself this every single day, because I am, especially when I get my cup of coffee, like I go a million miles an hour in roofing with so many people, with so many moving parts, with an increased public capacity perception, which means that we're growing. When people believe we're growing and getting bigger, they believe that we should be able to serve them better, faster. And we're working on this throughout the winter here. Every winter, every spring is this slow ramp up process where we onboard the best of the best. We train hands-on the best of the best, and we ensure that the customers are going to have a flow truck that shows up. In 2025, it's going to be magic. 2024, we got the glimmers, and in 2023, we knew what we needed to do. And we're continually getting better and better and better. And this year, we're excited. And in a separate video, we'll make some major announcements on some huge advancements that are going to ultimately let us serve the community in the way that I've always dreamed, which is at the highest level. And what that means is the fastest call to action, call from you, action from flow. And there's other call to actions in marketing, but when I talk call to action, it's literally customer to flow. Someone puts up the light up in the beacon up in the clouds at night, and it's got a little flow symbol, the flow bat, the roof bat. We need your help, flow. Anyway, so what is it like to flow with us? Okay, and this is going to be the first edition of a multi-series video, but we'll go over the summary of it all, and then the rest of the series will be a breakthrough, a ride-along, so to speak, of what it's like to actually flow with us. And I'm completely, it's not like there are aspects that I have and I'm willing to protect about flow, but ultimately any roofing company, is going to have very similar processes to ultimately fulfill the demand, right? You cannot install a shingle a million different ways to get a solution. There's only one or two ways to install that shingle properly to make sure that it's going to function the way you're supposed to stop that issue, okay? I guess there's more than just issues around shingles. There's so much about roofing that we're going to be going over, and that's the membranes, the gutters, the maintenance. You guys, so we'll go over these things more, and that's part of the major announcement that we have this, I'll call it a facility, which is allowing us to spread our wings a little more. And so we've been tucked back in the corners of Northwest Portland in the industrial parks now for way too long. And people are like, oh, where are you located? I haven't seen you, or I see you all around, but I don't know where you're located, which is totally fine. You Google us, you'll see this office style building, which is actually just a mailbox for us to receive mail. And that was intentional. Full transparency on that. The reason why we didn't want to draw attention to our Google address where our shop is at is because we don't have security, aka fencing with barbed wire to protect our trucks and trailers. So much so that I tell my project managers to tell their customers, please park in front of our trailers at night. We're going to be here for 2 or 3 days, possibly longer. We don't mind giving you a little thank you credit for helping secure, even though we're locking up the damn hitches. I've already experienced 2 stolen trailers in Portland over the last 5+ years, and that's all that I know. That's just my crews that have told me, and I'm like, God damn. So, don't forgive me, Lord. Don't mean to take your name in vain, but like, I don't. It's just not worth the stress. A trailer can be replaced, right? It's the principle. It's actually the feeling of insecurity, unsecured assets. These trailers for us represent the beacon that our communities need to see that we're trying to approach roofing responsibly, okay? And if my trailers go missing, I cannot serve my community. So that was my intention, to make sure that the Google profile, and still is, not associated with the warehouse, because I didn't want people snooping. Already, we like just had the guys chase down someone stealing our freaking wagon and taking our safety cones, and I'm like, hey, can you guys go? I had to. It's not. If I'm chasing down assets, I'm not roofing and I'm not serving people. Okay, all I do is look at roofs. All I do is look at how can we get better. And when you're dealing with things going missing, it's already hard enough. You trust someone who gives you the right experience, and they look at you in the eye. Like, I'm talking about team members. We had a couple last year that, these bad eggs, they will tell you anything that you need to hear. You want to believe them. You see the good in people, and then they run off with your damn $500 DeWalt nail or whatever. It's like, okay, all right, we're gonna take a step back. And so you invest into the good ones, and we have some amazing people here on the team. But then, so what is it like to flow? And yes, we're going to combine our Google profile with this new facility, which is like the major announcement of this video. But there's so many people in the roofing. So I'm bouncing around. It's the coffee taking effect. But there's a lot of construction companies, and they're not the big players in the game. Those are not the guys I'm worried about. We all see each other more or less on the same playing field, because we're all holding the line on the standards that we believe that you deserve. It's the smaller guys that are parking at their house, who know a buddy that has a fenced-in yard, who maybe got fired, who are mad at the world. Those are the guys that are taking their trucks out. I got a video of a guy. Literally, I was at the shop a month ago, and I heard him because he was coming around. He had this giant loud-ass diesel, which was a blessing. I'm like, oh shit, this guy's straight piping and roaring around my shop a little too fast. I pop out the other side, and he's backing into my shit, about to yank some stuff. And I'm like, literally, all right, I'm gonna step back in, click record, step outside, spotlight him, recording. And the dude was the funniest slink away, slow roll out of the Northwest District I've ever seen. And it was like perfect black Duramax lifted, straight piped, sketchy looking truck. I hate straight pipe vehicles. Side note, I think rolling coal, is what they say, should be illegal with a fat fine. That's so stupid. Like, that it's toxic, right? Like, yes, you have your interior air filters, but like, you think it may be such a small thing, but if you get 100,000 dudes rolling coal every day because they think it's funny, then you're just like, how many cow farts does that equal, right? Call me a hippie, I don't care. Anyway, all right, so what does that process look like? Okay, we're gonna probably break it down just in about 5 or 10 minutes here, but you call Flo, receptionist picks up the phone. How you doing? Thank you for calling Flo Roofing. How can I help you? At that point, understand that we want to know what it is you want us to help with, the problem at hand. I have old gutters. My attic's super stuffy in the summer. I think we're getting close to a repair. We don't want to repair your. We don't want to replace your roof. Okay, we don't want anyone to replace their roof. It's stinking expensive. Okay, I'm first generation. I understand why people don't like roofers. Okay, they think we just are rolling in it. Okay, in a well-refined roofing business, you're talking single-digit margins. Okay, and from my perspective, I pump in all that back in to make sure that you guys are taken care of here. 7 years of growth. I'm still living with my sister. I don't invest. I don't drive nice cars. I want to give people the best of the best, to make Flo the best of the best, to make sure that we can eventually grow all over the Northwest. Okay, and that's part of the facility grow. But like, okay, back to this damn this damn process. You call in with a problem, we're going to get your 4 pieces of contact information. 20 minutes into the video here, we're finally getting to it. We need your name, email, phone number, project address, okay? We are not going to spam you. We stick to that right now. We don't have an email campaign. We do attach automations to your profile to remind you of your upcoming appointment. And I'm still creating processes to ensure that we have people that are checking in on your project, okay? To make sure that you understand what's coming. And then your inspector picks up the inspection and who's literally checking to make sure that you were given the confirmation of your upcoming inspection. The day of the inspection, the inspector's calling you en route. You understand multiple different times flow is coming over, right? And that's part of setting the expectations. So the inspectors show up, at which point they're going to set the expectations again. Hi, my name is Varel with Flow Roofing. How are you doing today? We're not here to sell you a roof. I know, heartbreaker, right? How can we extend the life of the system you have? How can we reduce the total expenses? How can you understand that you can ask me any question you want and I'll answer it happily? And then some. If you don't stop me, I will continue to ramble, just like this. And at that point, so some of our inspectors are way better listeners than myself, and that's their strong suit. And that's why I hired them, was because you customers don't want someone who's just word vomiting over you. You need someone who's going to be your roof consultant, and that's who I've trained, are these consultants that are there to be your professionals, to take your order down in some more detail than any other inspection I've ever seen. And I have, back when I was living with my buddy years and years ago, taken a look at what the industry leaders were doing and said that can't be our standard. And so this is how we've refined over the years what we've heard from clients and seen in the industry in Portland on how we can get better and better every single day. So your inspector, I'm your inspector, I'm setting expectations, okay? There's 3 parts to this inspection. It may only last a half hour to 45 minutes on a roof replacement request. It may only be 20 to 30 minutes on a gutter or repair request, okay? But we need to start by establishing that we appreciate you guys calling, first and foremost, but we want to know, hey, should we take our shoes off or not? Do we want to put booties on? We start on the inside of the property. That's forever and always how we flow. We're the attic ventilation pros. We see our roofs from the inside out, and that's the most critical detail we believe in roofing. And so we start on the inside, and that allows us to ensure that you have the comfort in your own home property to ask us the questions that otherwise maybe you leave the safety of your door. You don't have to put your slippers on. Don't leave your house if you don't got your slippers on. And at that point, I mean, it's afternoon, right? Like, we don't want to interrupt anyone's nap as well. So we don't have to go inside, but you have to understand there's assumptions that you're making if we're not able to see inside your attic. Okay. We don't want to roof off assumptions. We need certainty here. This is how we flow. Okay. So we start on the inside. You're more than welcome to ask our inspectors any questions. And at that point, we're happily going to answer. But we need to see the attic from the inside. Okay. So we want to check for decking. We need to see where the insulation's at for the attic ventilation detail at your soffits. We need to take a look at any other sort of ventilation detail penetrations. And if you have an active leak at that point, or even if you don't, we can try to find it. Okay. And we can see the source, which are most oftentimes relating to a penetration. Okay. Penetrations through roofs, your chimneys, your skylights, your pipe boots, your HVAC exhaust, and there's a valley in some cases, but hip and ridge shingles disappear all the time too. How can we see the system to start from the inside? Because everyone sees roofs from the outside. Anyone can talk to you about a roof from the outside, but when we go in, we put our x-ray vision on and we can through that attic space and just be like just taking the data in to ensure that we can give the customer the best possible experience. Okay, so then we've got our data from the inside. We then would like to walk with you around the property, around the outside, to invite you more to things that you haven't thought about on the inside of your property, your biggest concerns around the outside. And now we're about 10 minutes into the inspection, okay? So we're walking around, we're always taking pictures of 8 different angles of the outside of the roof from the ground up to the roof. Why? Because we actually care about pre-existing conditions. So, and I've got not necessarily PTSD, but I've had customers try to point things out that I had pictures of prior to the install. There were dog's claw marks on a Trex deck. There were people trying to, and funny enough, these more affluent neighborhoods, these penny pinchers that will try and point things out that otherwise may have already been there. And we see the best in everyone, but everyone's got alternative motives. And so we've learned, take pictures all around, upload that stuff so we can protect everyone involved and give you guys the best experience. And so we're looking at the soffit ventilation details as we're walking around. We're looking at the edge, the rakes, we're looking at the slope, we're checking layers as we climb and we circle around the front of the building. You've told us your hopes, your fears, and your dreams. At that point, we say, great, I'm going to go ahead and go to the top of the roof. We're going to go and look at a bunch of key details on the checklist to make sure that we have the proper inventory. In the off chance that you choose to go with the flow, we have everything we need so we don't have to come back. We can then pass it off to production. They can create your work order and so on and so forth. So we go back around to the front door. We grab our ladders. We jump up to the roof line. We check first layers. We've already seen the decking on the inside of the attic. You have plywood, or we saw skip sheeting with cedar thrown through, or it was shiplap or whatever, based on the year of the home or whatever the structure, whatever you might be moving into a house that never had a roof replaced but always laid over. We've seen in Portland, our worst is 5 layers. And this is not a dick measuring contest. There's guys are going to be, I've seen 8, I've seen 10, right? Our worst is 5 layers, and it was like 4 inches of just the heaviest asphalt roof, and no underlayments between. The dudes are just, they had to have been using 3-inch framing nails to put that last layer on, I swear. And they were still hitting cedar, no decking or plywood underneath. So, never again. Anyway, so we're checking when we go up to the roof line. Plywood again. How many layers? Generally, if it's a 1980s house or property and newer, it's going to be the first time that roof's replaced. We're not going to make that assumption. We're always going to check, but I'll guarantee you would be pressed on a 90s, I would say late 80s into a 90s to have that second layer. You do see that in the 80s and prior to the 80s, but in the 90s, you're generally looking at that first roof replacement of the property. And that's not an assumption you want to get wrong, because you're trusting your property owners to give the best experience possible. You want them to have the best. So you have to understand the worst case scenarios to be able to give our clients the best. And if you missed a layer, and we've missed a layer before, and those customers, all trust is down the drain, right? There's no coming back. I would be pissed, right? You do your fucking job and tell me exactly what I'm getting into here. Anyway, we've weeded out any of these issues so we can be on our game. And that's how we've gotten better over the years, ultimately. And so we've checked the layers. We're on the roof now, and we're looking at penetration counts. We're looking at pipe boot sizes. We're looking at valley details, hip and ridge details, existing ventilation, skylights, penetrations, chimney flashing, lack of chimney crickets, section repairs, prior repairs, granule loss, ventilation, tab seals. Like, there's a lot that goes into the exterior, and then we're using chalk most often now to ensure that if it was just a repair request, that our repair techs know exactly via pictures what you'd like to be done, because our inspectors go through and mark the actual places where the repairs need to happen. And that's the chalk on the roof has been the biggest transition to allowing us to flow better, because we understand everyone's way more interested in a repair versus a replacement for cost reasons. But it's way better for a customer and an installer's perspective to know exactly where and what needs to be taken care of. We can't always get the shingle match to be precise, but if you know the manufacturer make, that helps a lot, because then we can get really close. Maybe it's a discontinued color for an existing manufacturer, but if that's an existing color and an existing manufacturer, ding ding, we got a winner here. And we can get pretty much spot on, minus any sort of granule changes the manufacturer might have done over the decades of possibly that same shingle line. And so with the inventory and all the markings, then our inspectors are taking a video of the walkthrough, and then they can come back down, whether or not you're standing in the driveway in your slippers and you got a cup of coffee and you're just watching this guy scurry, or if you want to go inside and we'll meet you back in 10-15 minutes. At this point, you're about a half hour into the inspection. We come down off the roof and we give you that walkthrough. This is everything that we found. This is what we suggest. This is our approach. This is what everyone else might do. This is how we flow. We're going to provide a proposal that's going to give you options about 24 to 48 hours after. And this is even in peak season, we should be able to pump these out pretty good. And our apologies again if we screw that up. We got a 2-star review that a lady had her proposal fall through the cracks, and she let us know. And I apologize to Debbie, and Debbie was just keeping us in line. And we've offered solutions for her, and ultimately, she's in the right. We screwed it up. So we've learned that y'all customers have expectations, and if we set expectations, we're going to stick to them, okay? And that one fell through the cracks. Unfortunately, flow is not perfect, okay? And so we've gotten better because of it. And that being said, you now have an understanding of who we are, what we do in our approach. During the inspection, we set expectations about what to have happen afterwards. Again, we're not going to ask for the sale. We just want you to have the best information possible, which is going to give you the best ammo to make a good decision for how you want to flow in the future. And whether or not you pick flow, there's some great outfits all around in the country, and we appreciate the opportunity to serve you. And so it is never expected that anyone should go with the flow. We are just trying to provide people with the best experience possible at the beginning, middle, and that's where we're going to go over the next video. And then in the end, on how we put a bow on everything. And so we'll go over production after that. The inspection wraps up. We say thank you. Our inspectors put your profile into a bucket where we say thank you, and then we set expectations for the proposal. Even when the proposal comes out, you'll get videos attached, you'll get flyers attached. We don't want to create a bunch of waste. We then will check on you once or twice in a month period after the proposal goes out, and everyone's got different timelines. We understand that. We're not asking for the sale. Every time we check in, do you have any questions that we can help with, right? Some people completely forgot they need a roof. Some people, life happens. Some people need a roof yesterday, right? And so we understand everyone's in different timelines, and we certainly don't want to make sure anyone feel like they have to be pressured, okay? If anything, the manufacturers are pressuring the entire rest of the industry, which we want to be the outlet that releases the pressure so everyone feels relieved they went with the flow, not anxious, not unsure, not scared at all about how we approach roofing. Again, this is how we flow. This is how we grow. So that's the inspection process. We'll talk a lot more about what happens after you choose to go with the flow with the baton passes, as we call it here. We like to use the Olympic athletic analogies, and on what that looks like throughout the rest of the process, going to the production room, going into the project manager's hands, setting expectations again, whether it's a repair, gutters, replacement for any property owner, and making sure especially tenants are properly taken care of as well, and all those other details. We'll go into a post-inspection video here in another one. I might be able to record tomorrow, but we got to get ready. I'm going to head to the gym. We've got the car show coming up. We got a new facility to move into. A lot of things coming pre-peak season here, 2025. But ultimately, hey, we appreciate you guys if you're still watching this. And if you have any questions, let us know how we can help. We can set up an inspection. No expectations. We're here to serve. And in a in respect to all that Alex Hormozi has taught me indirectly over the years, this is the season of giving. Give. It's not all about just giving ice cream, but I want to give best value to all the other roofing companies out there that may want to know how to create quality experiences. Any other inspectors out in other companies who want to get better. How do you create a connection with people that don't know you, don't trust you, don't like you because of the industry you're in, right? And so yeah, that's how we flow. If you guys have any questions, shoot them out, and take care. We'll have some more videos here coming out soon. Have a good one.